It's November 3rd, and this is my first time getting out with a bow. And I am on a hardwoods flat on a middle bench. And right there is where I found the shed from the big one. Now, he's been showing up about, I'd say from where I'm standing, about a half a mile away, consistently every night, coming underneath John Nugent's apple trees in his camp yard. John has a tree stand set in his yard of his camp. This buck is coming like he's only interested in food. I'm just hoping that he starts hitting these scrapes instead of going and hitting the food. And it was this time last year I caught my first glimpse of him. He was on his feet, midday, sunny, traveling, on the run. Now, John has been hunting on his property. His property's just up the road like a mile from where his camp is. His camp is right on the border of our property. So he's basically hunting in between. There's been some really nice bucks shot in the area. There was a 174 shot just a mile down the road. There was about a 130 shot this morning about a mile down the road. There's a lot of nice bucks around. Guys are starting to pass up bucks and letting them get to that extra age class. That's why we're seeing a lot more bucks. It's really crunchy in the woods, so I should be able to hear these deer coming from a long ways away. Here's my shot. I'm in a hemlock tree. Ron's stand is just right up there. So I don't know how many more days I'm gonna get out, but hey, at least I'm out. I don't shoot very far. Hopefully the strings on the old PSE Fireflight Cabela's Special from 25 years ago doesn't blow up when I pull it back. I'm waiting any time for that thing to happen. If that happens, I'm going recurve. So, and other than that, I'm just gonna throw a couple grunts out now and then. If I do see him, maybe I'll hit the snort wheeze, and just hoping that he's cruising on this oak flat, this hardwoods. There's a couple white oaks, a couple red oaks, a little bit of everything, and just hoping that he hits some scrapes as he's coming through, going from the deep woods into this pine thicket on my left. And down over me is the creek bottom and some big boulders, so I don't know what we're gonna see. It just seems like those deer are really, the big ones are really wanting a lot of food, so we'll see what happens. I just saw one nice buck. I just saw 3 up, but it looked pretty nice. Out there about 50 yards, but just catching movement behind all the brush and the trees. He came straight down off the hill and then went away from me, so I don't know if he'll turn around. I tried grunting, snort wheezing, nothing. Well, it figures everything is downwind from me. The wind's going up the hill from where I'm at, and that's where them deer are. I should have been up the hill another 40, 50 yards and out a little bit, 40, 50 yards, and I'd have been all over deer. But they're just staying just out of range where I'm just barely catching them move through the timber. So I've seen that little spike end up chasing a doe, and then there's a couple doe with a couple fawns. The fawns turn around, ran back in, so the deer are on their feet moving.
Bleh. Bleh.
That buck come right. That's the big one. That's the ghost. He's not much of a ghost anymore. The first time I ever got out archery season, and I see him, and I have not hunted this spot since 2010. This is not really an ideal spot, but because his shed was here, and it seems like there's lots of acorns, I at least wanted to come in here and scout, basically. He came right along this ridge, and I saw him really far off, and it didn't look like he was coming my way. So I made a loud grunt, and he was looking for a fight, so he started coming. And he kept stopping and stopping, and I knew there was no way I was gonna bring him up to me, because you can see how open the woods is. He can obviously tell there's no deer over here. But I had no other choice. I was just very aggressive, and because I did a really weak snort wheeze, now he couldn't see me, and he was going like this. He was trying to smell me, but when I did that snort wheeze, he just jumped off. I think I kind of scared him, but he hung out down there for the longest time, walking back and forth. I kept grunting at him. I could just barely see him walking back and forth. He wanted to come back up here, but just that little bit, he just knew something wasn't right, so I just completely stopped. And I may not come back in here I'm not planning on coming back for a while, because I don't know when the next time I'm gonna get to hunt. So maybe I might just wait till later in the week. But yeah, he's running these ridges just like I thought, checking these scrapes coming through where there's lots of acorns. The fact that I got to see him, my heart was pounding. I have not had that heart pounding like that for a long time. I knew as soon as I saw him that was him, but I knew I was going to be aggressive, and I'm fine. I'm okay with bumping him, because I really wasn't expecting to actually shoot him in archery season. I just never thought I'd ever see him. I thought I'm gonna catch some spots, try to shoot some doe, and if he comes by, he comes by. There's my camera arm, and this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the camera. But this is what I see. I can't see hardly anything unless it's right here. So, he can't see my face, he can't see anything, and he was stopping behind trees, so I know he couldn't see me a lot of the times. But the main thing is I want to have a really close shot. He came to about 35 yards at the closest, but there was no way I would have been able to fling an arrow out there. And I don't feel comfortable shooting that far, especially at that big of a buck, especially when he knows something's up. You know, when he's looking for another deer, so. Whew. Wow, the fact that I got to see him, unbelievable. That was a blessing from God. Now, everything after that's just bonus. That's day 1 of my rut, and I don't think I'll be able to top it. Probably will never see him again, but that was fun. Stay tuned. If I get back out, there'll be more footage. I'm getting out while there's daylight. You can see how open and big the woods is. I was in that hemlock tree, right up there. He was standing. Right here, he came right through there. Came right here, he was standing here. I was hiding up in that tree. But as you can see, he can see way up in the woods. He could tell there's no deer. My mistake, but I was being aggressive. That's how it goes. Live and learn. So I'm back at camp, and John Nugent was hunting in his yard like Andrew told me that he had to stand there. I didn't know he was in there. I went up to see him, and he's in the woods walking out of the yard right beside the road trying to hunt that buck. And Andrew, what did you see tonight?
4 bucks and 6 doe.
4 bucks, 6 doe. So there's been some nice bucks, like I said, shot around the area. Definitely the rut's moving. So I hurried up, got back here, sent everybody a text. I said, meet me down at camp. I'm eating my dinner, and then I'm heading out to get the kids. So tell them the story. So basically what happened is, I sat on this oak flat, but there's white oaks. White oaks are done, but the red oaks are still dropping. And maybe on the end of dropping, but the red oaks is what the deer are hitting, not the white oaks. I set that stand when they were hammering the white oaks. Well, regardless of that, I set up close to where I found a shed, like within eyesight, and there was a giant scrape there last year. So I thought, on the other hillside, I hunted a couple days last year, didn't see much. That was close to where Dad hit him, but it seems like we know that he's been hitting the apple trees. Would you say? Every
I had
day.
him on the 29th, the 30th, the 31st, and then the morning of the 1st, which is when we got here. We got here Friday morning.
So from where we're sitting, we can look out this window and see his camp where this buck is. So this buck is walking past the camp to get to his
and I'm literally
camp.
Hunting, I don't know, 30 to 40 yards away from the corner of the trailer.
Yeah, and that's why they get big. So I was up on that other hillside, and all the doe were walking like away from the sun, so walking deeper back in up the hall. Mm-hmm. And I saw a half rack spike. I did see another one that had a pretty nice side, like nice 3 up, but I couldn't get them on camera. Probably would have been a nice 8 point. A couple other doe, but they were all way up behind me where the wind was blowing. I'm like, I can't bring them down. Obviously, they're not eating any acorns. They're just passing through, because I looked around. I'm like, the red oaks are not big red oaks where there's lots and lots of acorns. So they're way back deeper in the woods. So I'm realizing, like, I set my stand up on stuff that was way too early. Would have been maybe a great first day sit, but not
October.
In rut sit. Yeah, you're going to see deer, but it's so open, there's not a trail right there, you know? And so I happened to look down on that ridge where that scrape was, and he must have just hit that scrape where it was last year. I don't know if it's there. I didn't walk over there. So as soon as I see his side, I knew that's him right now. So I'm like, big grunt. and he looks over, ears come back. I'm like, oh, he's gonna beeline right to my tree. So I have a GoPro set. I'm like, I'm not messing with the GoPro. I don't have time. He's already looking my way, and it's real open woods. So I grab my bow, and now I'm shaking. Like as soon as I look over now, he's already split the difference, and I'm like, this is him. He's coming. It's actually going to happen. Well, then there was a log. He did not want to walk over that little log. Any other deer would have probably stepped over. It wasn't anything they had to jump over. But he just stayed on the opposite side, and I thought him walking along there's no reason for him to make a 90 and come up to me, because he can see everything around underneath my tree. So I thought, well, I'll just grunt to him a couple times second he gets behind a tree. And then as I'm trying to follow him on my camera, I keep accidentally pushing the record button and shut my camera off multiple times. So as soon as I get it, I push it record and it shuts off and he moves and I gotta push it back on. Finally gets behind a tree. He's already too far past me, and I know I broke my own rules, but I thought I know he's past me, he's not gonna turn around, and he went like that, did a quick wind check, and I'm thinking he's walking right where I walked to the deer stand. And then I went, tss, tss. Well, that high-pitched noise should have been a kind of noise, because I think that was more like a snake hissing, like like that, and it just kind of scared him, and he jumped, and he went down over where the big rocks are that I'm always sneaking up on the deer, and he just stayed down there. I can hear him down there walking. It's like he wanted to come up, because I grunted a couple times, and you can hear him walking. Like I thought, here he comes. He's coming back up. He can't resist. He's going to see.
So he's like, who's challenging me?
Yeah, I did a
here.
legit snort wheeze, and I thought, here he comes. He's coming back up. Well, I watched and watched and watched, and he was walking around down there. Finally, I heard him just slowly walking away, and I thought, okay, he didn't see me because he was somewhat behind a tree when that happened. But I thought, I'm not too worried about it, but definitely enough that I probably won't be going back. I mean, it's Saturday, so I mean, even if I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I probably wouldn't go back. If I do, I would be later in the week.
It's
but now,
to get better later in the week too.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
it's going to get warm again next week.
Yeah, I was
so
gonna
as
say,
soon as it gets warm,
early.
and then it gets cold again, and that's what we had this week. It got warm, and then as soon as you get cold, that cold front, you get these little cold fronts coming in. You need to be in the stand on those days.
It's going to be in the 70s on Tuesday into Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. But then Thursday, Friday it drops.
Yeah,
again.
Well, we have Birdapalooza this weekend, so I'll be up for all that, but I'm only going to be able to bow hunt Thursday into Friday morning. Assuming I get out of work early.
So you were in the stand when I left the truck. I drove out of here. It's like you were like 20 yards from me then.
I was just above you. I'm literally like right on the edge of our trailer's property line.
Okay.
So did you drove back here, parked here, and walked across? Or wait, so
Yeah,
you started
over to
here.
the turkey feeder. Did you walk straight up, or did you follow the road out and then come down?
No, I just followed the logging road. Followed the logging road.
Oh, okay.
There's a gas line.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I stayed on the logging roads and the gas line the whole way up. Now, the reason why I didn't come out from my tree stand and come the whole way back to, because when we were flintlock hunting in that early muzzleloader season, we were seeing bucks bedded all through them pines.
That's weird too.
And if I were to come out across there and he was in that section between the pines and where the old turkey feeder was,
yep.
if there were deer in there, I'd have busted them. So the only way I would have been able to do is cut down over the hill, walk the whole way through the bottom. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. So I started thinking, I was like, yeah, it's a walk, but I'm like, it really isn't that much further than coming the other way, just that I have to go uphill the whole way. And I thought, I walked around these mountains twice during flintlock, the early muzzleloader season. I thought, I'm pretty sure I could walk a short distance up to the tree stand.
No, it makes all the sense in the world to do the lap like you did, rather than to cut up through the bottom, especially coming up from those rocks above the stream where I pushed that bench with you to go doe hunting in the late season. Not late season, but late rifle.
Yep. But where he came from, I don't know if he came up from the bottom and hit that ridge, because he's right on the edge. And I couldn't hear him until all of a sudden I heard him, and he's right there as far as I could see out on
and
the
you got
ridge.
you got the footage of him.
As good as I could.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just constantly walking, stopping behind trees, walking, stopping, and I'm where my eyes are. I can't see him very good
Because the camera
but
just...
the camera's so low, and I showed this on the camera, you can see and pan underneath. So he couldn't see me from like here up. He couldn't see me. I was covered by hemlock branches. That's why my shots were only like I looked at everything.
Oh, so you were very limited to like a 15 to 20 yard shot.
Like there was a couple. There was one spot I could have shot at 27, where he walked and he was right on the other side of that, maybe another 5 or 6 yards. So he maybe came, just under 35 yards, between 35 yards, the closest. But
you didn't have a shot.
I didn't have a shot in my bow. I'm not taking that shot at that range. Yeah. So most of my shots were like 23 and under.
Which is what you always usually have.
Yeah, and those were the furthest. The furthest shots, it was like 23, 24,
yeah, but
26.
if he was almost pushing 40, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if you...
Especially when he knows someth's up.
He's going to jump
and he's looking around and he's looking up my way.
Yeah, yep.
He's going to duck and move.
Oh. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a little chit chat here at camp. And then I'm going to finish this, and these guys are going to keep hunting. Andrew's got my other camera, so we'll see what he's been up to.
Rutcation.
2024.
All
right. Catch you later.